Hi, this is Pushkar Shirke, sports nutritionist, peak performance coach, and founder and director of Project Battlefit. With all that has been going around, I thought it would be sensible to make a video about the science of weight cutting. Right? I have managed a lot of athletes for the weight cuts, especially in MMA and combat sports, and having been into sports and fitness and also into bodybuilding, I understand the differences in different kinds of weight cuts. So I would like to tell that out to people out there because a lot of people still make these mistakes, especially people coming from old school wrestling and old school boxing backgrounds. They still use outdated methods of weight cutting, and that can be hazardous to health and also look bad on your own performance when you fail to make weight. All right. I'm not going to name anybody or point any fingers at anybody in this video. This video is purely for the sake of science and understanding and sport. And I hope you all take it that way, especially athletes who are looking to compete. All right. So this is going to be a longer video than just a 1.5 minute Instagram reel. So I'll be putting it on YouTube. Make sure you see it on YouTube so that you get the full video and all the details of it and not just the fancy bits which are Insta friendly. All right. So first off, there are three different kinds of weight cuts. All right. One is cutting fat. All right. And this is the most important part. All right. This applies to every other kind as well because this is the beginning step. When you cut fat, all right, without cutting water, that is your peak performance weight. That is the weight at which you will perform your best. And usually that's in a range of about 12 to 15% above your fight weight. All right. And that is the weight you want to be at when you go into a fight as a fighter. For example, if you are fighting in bantamweight category, when you reload, okay, and step back in the cage, you should be 12 to 15% above your weigh-in weight. So if you weighed in at say 60, for example, you should get into the cage at 68 or 70 kgs. All right, that's your proper reloaded performance weight. Now, this is a weight where you have full rehydration, full water, absolute performance, and the only thing that is not contributing to your weight is your fat. Now, when you go into weigh-ins, comes in the second kind of weight cut, which is moderate dehydration. All right. Now, for events like wrestling and weightlifting, where you are, or maybe say ADCC, where you are weighed every time on the day of the competition, for amateur MMA fights, where you're weighed in on the day of the competition, this is the kind of weight cut you should be going for, where you've cut your fat completely down to performance weight, and then you use a moderate dehydration method to cut down to get to your weigh-in weight. All right. So in case you were fighting at bantamweight, 64.5 is the max limit where you should be at, okay, before you start your weight cut process, because this will allow you to not only get back in good shape but rehydrate in time, not take too long to rehydrate, and perform your best. All right. Now, in these methods you can use a bit of tiring methods like training, running, jogging, wearing a sweatsuit, and skipping, cycling, and a little bit of steam and sauna to dehydrate yourself, to get yourself to a weight from where you can rehydrate very fast and very immediate. Now, this is something you should be doing for weightlifting, wrestling, ADCC, jiu-jitsu, where you're weighed in on a daily basis. All right, because if you start pushing for the third method of dehydration, which is used in pro MMA, okay, there's also a fourth method which is used in bodybuilding, which I will not cover in this video because it does not apply to performance sports at all. It is the weakest you can ever be. All right, and also it's dependent on the gross use of pharmaceuticals and stuff that would sort of be illegal in sports. So I'm not even mentioning it here. All right. So, having covered the second method of weight cuts, which is moderate dehydration, we come to the third, which is absolute high level dehydration, which is required for pro MMA. Now, the reason this is advised for pro MMA and not for competition where you're weighed in regularly is because such a weight cut will require you around 12 to 24 hours to completely rehydrate back to performance weight. All right, and that is important. This is the part that people most often skip and end up with a bad performance after their weight cut. All right. And this starts getting tougher and tougher with age. The more older you get, the tougher this drop and rehydration process gets. All right. So make sure you test it before you actually run it in competition. The reason I make my athletes do a trial weight cut before they actually fight is so that they can gauge their process. A lot of people try to be weight bullies right from the amateur level. Now, what is a weight bully? A weight bully is a person who's actually in a higher weight class but drops to an extreme weight to compete in a lower weight class. All right. When you're young, you can do this. As you get older, this gets tougher and tougher to do. If you're an amateur and that's just your goal to fight amateur, yeah, sure, do it. But if you plan to turn pro and go at a higher level, this is a terrible thing you're doing for yourself, because you're setting yourself up for failure in the future. Because if you're constantly fighting people who are generally actually weaker than you, as and when time goes on and the process becomes more difficult and you start facing actually higher level competition, you will realize you're not at the level you expected yourself to be at. All right. So don't get into the habit of being a weight bully. All right. So for an MMA weight cut, first thing, you cut fat. You never walk around more than 20-25% above your fight weight, even off camp. That is 20 to 25% is your off camp weight. That's 70 to 75 kgs as a bantam weight. That is where you walk around when you're off camp, your leisure, you're gaining strength, you're relaxing, you're improving mobility and doing your other drills and stuff. You're just not in camp. Once you get into camp, you are supposed to be at 12 to 15% of your body weight above your fight weight, right? So if you're competing in 60, you should be at 68 to 70 kgs when you walk around in fight camp. Now, once you get into the final stage of the cut, you should already be at around 7 to 10% above your fight weight, which is 64.5 to 66 kgs if you're planning to cut down to 60. That would be comfortable, okay? That would not require any risk at your end, because when you cut that weight, you are sure you can rebound back well to your actual performance weight, which will be 68 to 70 kgs when you step into the cage, and you will be able to give your best performance. Use of heavy pharmaceuticals is highly, strictly a no-no for cutting weight in MMA. All right, even though you have 24 hours to reload, a pharmaceutical cut takes a much longer time to rehydrate and reload back to performance levels. All right, the fatigue on the body is very high. Shots on your organs will hurt you very bad because they are already struggling. So make sure you do not make these mistakes. And again, do not do physical intensive activity based dehydration methods close to your weigh-in, especially as an MMA fighter, because if you're going to end up tired the next day, right? If this goes even for daily weigh-ins, do not use physical intensive methods as a last resort towards the end, because you will end up tired, you will end up fatigued. I understand you need to sweat, but try to use light steady state methods to drop that last amounts of weight so that your body is not stressed out, because the more your body gets stressed out, the more it will retain water and inflammation and therefore add more weight to your body, the same weight that you're trying to drop, right? There's subcutaneous water, there is cellular water, there's cellular glycogen, right? The water stores within your organs. Now you need to drop everything at a level that you can manage. And if you just overall outpush yourself to fatigue your organs, and your body is going to retain some water, it's going to get inflamed and swollen, and that will retain weight that you eventually then cannot drop. All right. So I hope this video helps. And for every MMA and combat athlete out there who's planning a weight cut, please be sensible. Don't be a last day rodeo. Plan your strength camp, plan your fight camp, and plan your weight cut along with your nutritionist very sensibly. And make sure you do a trial weight cut so that you know exactly how much you can push your body in the last moments, and always be about 2 to 3% away from that in your actual weight cut. All right. As a nutritionist, as an athlete myself, I myself do weight cuts every year just to keep a track of my body, and so that I am also in the loop of how it feels for my athletes when they are cutting weight. And if there are any new methods, I first try it on myself before I recommend it to the athletes that I consult. All right. I hope this advice helps. My name is Pushkaraj Shirke. I run Project Battlefit, and you're always welcome to ask me for a consult. And all the best for MMA, combat sport, or sporting journey. Cheers.